connected to the leaf springs are bolted down by my U-bolts onto the axle. All nuts and bolts are present. They're all securely fastened. My leaf springs are not shifting. They're not bent. And they're all not bent, dent, twist, or cracked. Next, I have my brake hose. My brake hoses are securely fastened. I'll make sure the crimp is not cross-threaded. The hose is connected to the brake chamber. The brake chamber connected to the S-cam. S-cam brake. S-cam the rod. Got the name of this. Give me 1 second. The rod is connected to the S-cam bracket. In order to check the rod, I would pull and make sure it doesn't come out more than 1 inch. All nuts and bolts are present. Strap securely fastens. Brake chamber. All nuts and bolts are present, not bent, dent, twist, or cracked. Next, I have the hub. The hub is connected to the S-cam brake, the S-cam. And in the hub, I have my 2 brake linings. It can either be on the top or bottom, or left or right, held in place by rivets. I'm going to make sure it doesn't have more than 1/4 inch of wear and tear. Checking the brake lining, I'm going to make sure it's not, there's no gouging, should be smooth, no metal chunks, no oil, and free of debris. Next, I'm going to check the brake drum. The brake drum should be smooth. They should not have chunks missing, should not have shavings, should not have oil, brake fluid, and it should be free and clear of debris. Next, I'm going to check my steel rim. I'm going to make sure it's free and clear of debris. The portholes are to help keep the brakes cool. On the rim, I'm going to check, make sure all nuts and bolts are present and they're securely fastened. I'm going to check for cracks, make sure it's not over tightened. I'm going to check for streaks, make sure it's not loose. I'm going to make sure there are no repair welds. There is slight rust, but still operable. The valve stem and cover and cap is in place. It's not bent, dent, twist, or cracked. My wheel oil hub. All nuts and bolts are present. Not bent, dent, twist, or cracked. There are no leaks in the back. There is a peep sight, and it shows it's above the oil, above the normal level. Next, I'm going to check my tire. I'm going to check, make sure it's not mismatched. Not more than 430 seconds of wear and tear. I'm going to check for bulging or metal, and I'm going to check for metal exposed, both in there and on the outside. I want to check the tension. By doing that, I would pound on it with a hammer, or I could take a gauge, tire gauge, check the valve stem, and I should get a reading of no more of 120 psi. Next, I would come back up. I would check all my wires. Make sure they're all securely fastened. I'll make sure there's no bare wire showing. I'll make sure it's not arcing. I'll make sure it's not twisted. Make sure there's no excessive rubbing. Next, I would check all my rubber hoses. Make sure they're all securely fastened. Make sure there's no bulging. no cracks, no tears, and no holes in them, and make sure they're not leaking. Next, I will check my metal hoses. I'll make sure they're all securely fastened, not bent, dent, twisted, or cracked. Make sure there are no holes and no leaks. Next, I have my radiator fluid container securely fastened to the radiator. All nuts and bolts are present, not bent, dented, twisted, or cracked. Cap is securely fastened. There are no leaks. I would check, make sure it is at the max level, which it is, and then I'll make sure it's above the add level. Next, I have the oil tube. This is where I add oil. It's connected to the engines. It's connected to the engine. Cap securely fastened. There are no leaks. I'm going to make sure I check the engine. All four sides of the engine, top, bottom. There are no leaks. I'll make sure the radiator, top and bottom. Check for leaks. There are no leaks. Should just add the radiator now. The radiator is mounted to the frame, free and clear of debris, both inside and out. Fan, all blades are present, no chunks missing, not cracked. Brackets holding radiator. The brackets connected to the frame, connecting the radiator. All nuts and bolts are present, not bent, dent, twist, or cracked. And that would conclude my driver's side inspection.